Hello everyone to everyone's favorite podcast about Gemini movies. It's Gemini movies, but we are not talking about movies. Um, it's Pinocchio hours. Who's hype? Are you hype, Ludo? Co-host
B-
Ludo?
Bonjour tout le monde. Aujourd'hui, on va parler de Pinocchio à Paris. Okay, not
What?
really. It's not actually Paris.
Isn't it fast technically?
Uh, we can't already jump into a rabbit hole because I found a map in one of the levels of Lies of P, and it's totally not our world. Like, this is not our world. It's not
Okay,
set
okay,
in the real world.
okay. So, first, like always, so we're gonna do a special podcast this time related to our Pinocchio podcasts. But before we do it, we normally do in every podcast a show and tell. So do you have anything to solo though?
Um, just gonna do a short recap of my month.
Yeah,
Uh, I've been mostly playing Lies of P and after that Skyrim.
yeah,
Because sometimes you just need to turn your brain off for 2 weeks to play a very not minimalist but like not very exhausting game.
yeah.
And we watched a lot of horror movies in our movie club. That was nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's basically all we did. Or I
Um,
did.
I play basically same for me. And the only thing I quickly mention is I got Game Pass for Lies of P and I forgot to stop unsubscribing from it, so I have it for one more month. I've been playing most. I've been playing a couple of things, but the thing I'm gonna talk about is I've been playing. So the most recent Hitman game, Hitman 3, got it got repackaged as like a thing that includes Hitman 1 and 2, but also it got a new mode called Word of Assassination, which is like it's a roguelike mode basically.
Yeah, I heard a
Uh,
bit of that.
it's basically you pick from a set of missions to kill like criminal syndicates, and like in every map, basically every map from the game, every new Hitman game, you're sent to kill like a random person at the map. And you like get put like a random area of that map, and then at the last mission of every collection of missions, you have to like kill a specific target, but they can find you, they can hide you. It's been pretty fun. I've been dying a lot because I'm not good at Hitman. Plus, because it's all randomized, randomizes the locations, it randomizes some items, so it's very kind of hard to complete some missions in certain maps. But I've been enjoying it a lot. Hitman's probably one of my favorite stealth games of like the last couple like decades. So like I think it's just very fun to like just do stealth stuff and go to previous areas I've been already to. But because it's okay random people, sometimes I find stuff that I couldn't find while doing like story missions. Sometimes I find a new way to kill targets. Sometimes I just stumble across things. It's pretty fun. I like it a lot. I highly recommend the Hitman gamers. They're
Yeah, they
very
look
good.
pretty good.
They're very good. Last thing, I don't recommend playing the old Hitman games. Don't actually play them.
But
Uh,
there's murder nuns.
no, that's the 2010 one. I'm thinking the old world ones. Well, like there's
Oh,
racism in them.
okay, yeah, that makes sense. The
Uh,
studio's from like Sweden, right?
the Danish.
Danish.
Uh,
Almost the same. Let's be
uh,
real.
fun fact: the name of the group of assassins in the Hitman games is a reference to a Swedish supermarket chain. That's funny.
That
Anyway,
is funny.
let's go. Uh,
So we're gonna have a different structure this week, this month. We're gonna have different segments, so it's very exciting. We're gonna try something else. This might recur for bonus episodes in the future,
yeah,
but listener, just roll with it, I guess.
just roll it.
Okay, so do at the end we can like give our our overview about how we like the game, but we're gonna just start dipping into the segments, I guess.
Mhm.
Although I wanna talk about something before we start, because
Is this what I
what
want my sins?
No. What did you? We both had like a very different view of this game when it was like previewed,
Yeah.
and like uh, when you first heard of Lies of P, what was your impression? Like
Oh yeah.
we used to talk about it in like a different way than we're gonna talk about it now.
Did I? I felt like I was always very positive on it, to be honest. Like,
Okay, because like for me, the impression was like it's just an edgy version of Pinocchio that they're gonna make as a Souls game.
yeah, like it's interesting for me. I would think this was already when I was getting Pinocchio the other way, but specifically, I feel like because I am that I am I sometimes online and even in real life sound way much more comfortable in me and heated than I normally am as a person. Just because of the way I speak, I tend to, as much as I get often heated about a lot of things, I tend to give things the sense of the benefit. So when I first heard about this game, I was just like, I was very curious about it. I had like a sympathetic curious of like, let's say maybe it's bad, maybe it stinks, and just was like, maybe it will turn out well, maybe
Yeah,
not.
because the idea to review the game essentially came from you,
Yeah,
and then I just rolled with it because it looked interesting.
yeah. I guess to. No, I was gonna ask you. Do you want to talk about a bit about the history of like Souls likes and like the marketing around like why maybe there was like some cynicism around a bit, or just like everyone already knows the thing.
I think we both just memed it a bit, you know.
Yeah,
We like made a bit fun of the idea of Pinocchio in a Souls-like, which
yeah,
it is funny and people still make jokes about it.
yeah,
But the game is actually pretty good, as
yeah.
we're gonna like talk about right
It's
now.
good. It's probably my favorite Souls likes, to be honest. I think I really like it.
It's probably the best Souls-like I played that's not from FromSoft. Yeah.
Do you want to give a bit of history regarding our history from soft games, or like no issue? That doesn't matter.
I mean, we can freestyle it. I just played the original Dark Souls trilogy. Then I played most of Elden Ring, and so I tried some other Souls likes, but I didn't finish them. Like I played what's the one with the white guy who's a samurai?
Oh, Nihil?
Yeah, I played a bit of Neo, and I played a bit of The Surge too.
Yeah, my history is interesting because, like, as people know me, I'm a old games, like retro games, like obscure games, weirdo. So, like, my interaction with Farm Software was actually Demon Souls. I found a copy of it years ago and kind of love it, which kind of led me into finding emulation for like the Kingsfield games, some of the other stuff, Solar Tower. I'm much more effort to this than like FromSoft had. I have a lot of issues with the most more recent Dark Souls stuff, but I like two. I like Dark Souls 2. I like Bloodborne. I like Demon Souls. The rest I can kind of give it or leave it, you know. So like my thing, so I'm much more into like the older style, like FromSoft games, like when they go a bit more weirdo, like Dark Souls 1 and like Dark Souls 3 and stuff like that. So I'm never was that much like the Souls games of like the Souls like farmer. But I played a couple. The one I really liked before Lies of P was a Code Brain, which was the vampire anime one, which I found pretty enjoyable.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
So yeah, that established. Let's start going into the segments. Also, fair warning, although this should be clear, full spoilers for the game Lies of
yeah,
P.
and
Like,
spoilers for the Pinocchio book. Fucked up.
yeah, I guess. Spoilers for Gnosticism.
Spoilers for like a 2011 book.
Yeah. So let's start with the first segment, which is story. So, Alice, what did you think of this story? We're gonna talk about like how it relates to Pinocchio in this segment too. But first, let's just look at the story.
I found genuinely, I was very surprised how much I found the story very compelling. Like in
Mm-hmm.
general, it goes to like, in general, it goes to like this gothic, like it goes to like this gothic melodrama. People here know I love. Where like everyone's like always like in constant existential pain, and fighting Sat, or feel like this gothic aesthetics and a surprisingly very thoughtful look at realism in various parts that I find very interesting. I also just kind of like how you progress to the story, you just progress to the space areas, and every area kind of has a mini story. There's side quests, of course. Like there's a mini story in like the main story itself.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. You meet
like
characters and they have like their own thing going on, or you learn about some history of that zone.
I think it's really solidly done. I think it's probably one of the better uses of Souls like storytelling. Where like it will give you like a piece of a pamphlet, it will give you stuff that will just have like NPCs talk to you. And it feels mostly well natural. I really like the starter. I really like how I really like after the last area. It's really good. I overall think it's pretty good.
Yeah. Um, let's look what I have written here. It's like a pretty well structured mystery that slowly unravels and leaves plenty of vagueness for FromSoft style theory crafting.
I will.
Because things aren't as they seem. You learn slowly more about the world and what characters, what motivations they have, and yeah, there's a bunch of twists and turns as you learn more.
Yeah, I think it's really good.
And there's like a bunch of stuff that's just straight up you have to kind of figure out for yourself, or like theory craft to really figure it out. There's stuff that I haven't really fully put together. Yeah, that's cool. I like me some mystery, some unsolved a little bits.
Yeah, I think it does very well. Like FromSoft games are known for like they're like very kind of ambiguous storytelling. I feel like this combines those ambiguous elements alongside much more clearer storytelling. In a way that I
Yeah,
feel is just very solvable order.
yeah. With that settled, the Pinocchio parallels.
Yeah,
So, in terms of what they do with the source material, I think they have a lot of respect for Pinocchio, but they also did it because they know Pinocchio is a famous property that if you adapt it, it's gonna like draw a lot of attention.
yeah, I
And
agree.
I think that's smart, and what they do with the like source material is very clever.
Yeah,
I would even say like this is one of my favorite like Pinocchio, playing around with the ideas of Pinocchio in a different way.
yeah. This also like you can tell like why this has a commercial angle to it. Of course, like every commercial posit, there's also a cool album. It's just like kind of gothic, kind of fairy tale, like European fiction. Like we'll talk about that later. But there's like Frankenstein and Dorian Gray, etc., as well. It's like they know this shit.
Yeah, yeah. I was just astonished that like we talked and thought about Pinocchio so much in our project, and when I played this game, it like helped me see another angle in Pinocchio, which is kind of wild for like how much Pinocchio media we consumed and how much reading we did, like even on an academic level.
I will mention this later, but I think it does. I think this game does stuff that I normally would consider like not just in Pinocchio, but like in a lot of I think people might know because I thought this. I'm also an Alison Ireland fan. As you can tell by my name, I'm a fan of fairy tales, and like there's a lot of hacks here regarding adaptations or like so-called takes of fairy tales and like famous like historical media. That's a bit fantastical that I hate. And in this game, kind of does some things, but doesn't in ways that I find it, that I think is very clever actually. And that's just like as you all see it.
Yeah, it never like while it has a lot of like mature content in terms of like the violence and the like horror elements, it never feels like it's just doing it for shock value or exploitation sake.
I feel like I will mention this because I feel like this is a good way to think about Liza P. Because I know there was like accusations of Liza P being this before people actually like playing the game and finding out it's not that. Like Liza P is not that fucking Winnie the Pooh horror movie. Where it's just like two people bought the Winnie the Pooh mask and like made a bad slasher movie. It's
No,
like
it's really not that.
It's like an actual like fucking thing that's made care. It's a thing that understands that there's dark elements in a thing made for kids, but does it with respect and things, and not just, oh, we need to push modeling people. I am so mature and nasty. I am so clever. La la la
Yeah,
la. La.
yeah.
You know?
I mean, this story had like the ambitions of being philosophical and like exploring human nature.
Yeah.
Like the angle that I didn't see in Pinocchio that like this game showed me is that lying in itself is like part of human nature and like makes you human. And so like
Yeah.
there's the mechanic that Pinocchio becomes more human the more he either shows empathy or like listens to music, which I think is also a really nice touch. But also when he lies, he becomes more human because like that's what differentiates a machine from a human. A machine cannot just lie to you because it doesn't
Yeah.
understand that concept.
Yeah, I was going to mention it actually. One of the best things about this game and the Pinocchio logo is like how we translate a lot of complex ideas, even from other Pinocchio media, into game mechanics in a way that's very clever.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
because
I,
there's Astro Boy stuff in there and all that.
yeah, like one of my favorite things is before I think in some boss fight it's missing, but before basically almost every boss fight, there's like a wish upon a star mechanic where you can just like summon like somebody to fight with you. Which I think is
Yeah.
like a very clever like use of that thing, like the Disney movie.
And then of course we have the money tree, which is just real,
Yeah, yeah.
which is a nice reversal because it's of course a fake thing that Pinocchio gets tricked by in the story, but here it's just frigging real.
Yeah, yeah. He doesn't get hanged though. Shaking my head, shaking my head.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
one interview they said that they won't do that.
Well, fucked up. No hanging. Anyway, but yeah, I feel like it does a lot of clever. Like it's one of the things where like it's just clever transfer of. It's just cleverly puts out of the things into the actual story and game mechanics in a way I enjoy.
Yeah.
Uh,
Also, they do the thing which I kind of hinted at. I like to see where Geppetto is actually not a good guy. Like his motivations aren't actually benevolent towards Pinocchio. That happens in this game because like the book itself, like my one of my readings was that like Geppetto, society, and the Blue Fairy, they're just trying to force Pinocchio into certain ways of like acting to like basically educate him to like assimilate into society. And here you can kind of, if you choose a certain path, you can kind of reverse that and like fight back against Geppetto.
yeah, I feel like it very much plays with interesting ideas, specifically how that goes into the ending. Because normally a Pinocchio story is like he gets with Geppetto and the Blue Fairy, and they become a family, like a nuclear family basically. And I feel like
Yeah,
this like supports that in very clever ways. And it plays that with very interesting ways. That's why we like some of the. There's nothing really original, but I really like how they place it in characters like the cat and the fox. Shouts out to them, they're very cool. I
yeah.
got a
They
stuff.
made the fox a woman, and y'all know how I feel about that.
Wow, fuck
Also,
that.
everybody's thirsty for that woman. I found out. Everybody's very thirsty for that cat, for that
People
fox woman.
people love a fox woman. But
Yeah,
anyway,
they sure
but
do.
anyway, I really do like the fox and the cat stuff because they just like trick you, like can basically do things like every time you meet them. But like by the end of the things, you can actually choose to spare them. And, like it's a very cool, clever subversion because you don't get punished for anything. You literally get asked. There's people like there's people liars, there's people scammers. Like you're asked to actually do empathy, and you get
Yeah.
rewarded by like not getting a boss fight, which I find very good.
Yeah, I found that very cool. That like this is probably the most sympathetic in any version I have ever seen. The
Yeah.
cat and the fox.
Yeah, which I found very like interesting. I guess so. There's a lot to like just talk about. This boss, the first boss is basically just the Violator, which I think is interesting. There's like a lot. Do you have like anything to say? Do you have like a specific like Pinocchio analogy that comes like in your head?
For the bosses specifically.
No, just for like your favorite or knowledge of the game overall.
I think I already talked about like the ones I like the most. Basically, the whole Geppetto reversal and the Cat and the Fox. The money tree like made me snicker, and then the Dorian Gray thing just made me like laugh out loud.
Yeah, shouts out to, it's not Pinocchio, but shouts out to Western Frankenstein. No? He was fun. No?
Yeah, Wrestler Frankenstein is amazing.
Go ahead.
I don't know why if this is something about voice direction, but everybody in this game pronounces evolution as evolution. And I don't know if that's like a British thing or something.
I think it might be a phonetics thing, because I know in Japanese, when you're a Japanese person, you're talking Japanese, but then say evolution, that kind of sounds like it. I don't know if it's the same in Korean.
Those voice actors are like, I think, either Irish or American.
No, but the phonetic, I know they're not like Korean or like South Asian.
Yeah.
So
I just think it's more something about direction or dialect.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
But yeah, good stuff. Anything to add?
This is not Pinocchio, but shouts out to the fact that it's a FromSoft like. So there's of course a guy with the Berserk sword.
Yeah, there has to be a guy with the Berserk sword, and he shows up.
It's so funny that like Berserk is like this like melodramatic, like kind of inspired by like women's comics and stuff like that, and like the thing a lot of people take from it is like, wow, Azzy plus wow, cool sauce. This is not the Berserk podcast. It's just very funny to me.
I think in terms of that, like melancholic and like tragic aspects, I think FromSoft games understand that in Berserk to a degree.
Yeah.
But it's also funny that like Big Sword is just always in there.
Yeah, it is very fun to see a FromSoft guy. FromSoft like, and there's always cuts on that. Anyway, let's go ahead.
It's sad that you can't get a Big Sword, as far as I know.
The boss fight, the Big Sword, is very fun. I really like all the. Is it the gang? I like that boss fight.
Yeah, the Black Rabbit Brotherhood.
They have like very tragic backstories to them that are fantastic. It's really good melancholic storytelling. Okay, let's go.
Okay, let's go to the gameplay.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna just say it. I had to see to beat this game. I'm a seater.
Yeah.
I use like a one-hit kill thing for the early parts of the game. Then when I just learn it, I just use like use a don't die thing for the boss fights. But yeah, I think I'll go ahead because you're better to. I noticed this overall when you talk about games. You're just better to explain it because it's weird. I don't come for games for gameplay exactly.
Yeah, you're less about the mechanical aspects.
Yeah, much more like the mood and design and stuff. Not design, like atmosphere and aesthetics and stuff like that. So go ahead because you're just better to explain that stuff.
Okay, let's see what my notes got here. It's a very nice blend of mechanics that slowly unfold as you progress through the game. I think you noticed that too, right? So,
yeah,
like the game doesn't give you everything at the start. It's a bit like in how I saw Sekiro works, where it just keeps piling on mechanics.
Yeah.
And that goes on for like half the game.
Yeah, I was actually gonna mention that. A lot of people compare this game to like Dark Souls 2 and stuff. Like, it's far more like a Sekiro-like, to be honest. It's very Sekiro, specifically the focus on parry. The parry system and stuff like that. I also find it interesting, like how there's like a whole mechanical on. You get like a thing after every boss fight, and you can transfer the thing into like basically like a passive effect or like a full-on like attack, like new weapon.
Yeah,
which I find very interesting.
Yeah, instead of the boss soul giving you either two different weapons or something, it gives you either a weapon or an amulet that gives you like an effect.
Yeah.
And those amulets are very heavy. So I think the intentional design is that you use those in New Game Plus when you have like more weight limit.
I think there's also a thing where like they don't want you to just go in one direction or not. So they maybe just want you to like you get an amulet and then you get like I don't know a sword or like something.
Yeah, because depending on your build, most of those weapons won't really be useful.
I feel like the game like encourages like build exploration.
Yeah.
You know, like even in like one build, because the game like puts you into like three different systems. But like even in that, you can do various things. It's like I feel like it encourages you to just like explore what you can do. You know.
Yeah, there's also a fourth stat that you can like specialize on that none of the starter builds support.
Mhm.
So I'm very curious about like doing a run with that last stat and trying to see because there are weapons that scale very well with that.
Yeah, yeah. As I saw to the no, it's not the site. It's the thing you saw it from the screenshots I posted.
Oh,
It's
the
like the thing.
Puppet Ripper.
Yeah, the weapon is really fucking good.
Yeah, I played that on my second playthrough. That weapon is fucked up. It has like the extendo chain
Yeah.
and it goes through walls, so it's really cheap. I love it.
I really like the weapons are very good. These weapons feels unique, specifically boss weapons. It's like you
Yeah.
can really feel like it's interesting because most souls like from FromSoft actually besides the kill lets you create a character, but because Pinocchio's Pinocchio, it doesn't. But you can make your Pinocchio feel very different in combat and even in statics. Like
Yeah, and
builds and dress ups.
then there's the system where you can like exchange the handles, and that's actually really cheap. I found out because depending on what handle you have that move set, right?
Yeah.
So if you like put a short weapon handle on a long range sword, you just have a very fast move set, even though you have a really big weapon.
This is weird, but it reminds me of like the spell system in Morrowind.
Yeah,
You can create your own spells.
yeah, it's a
It
bit like that.
it's that, but like with weapons, I feel like because you can just like, of course, it's not as broken as Morrowind because different
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
Like you can just like, but you can create very diverse weapons with that system.
Yeah, I think it's really fun. I never seen that system in a Souls-like before.
I would say this is my boss type, but I like the boss progression a lot because every boss feels unique and it feels much feels like character. Like I was talking about the final step of like the fight with the guy with the gut saw is very good because you can notice his attacks getting more intense, more intense, more intense. So
Yeah,
as you can feel the guy getting more desperate. Same thing with in the like the woman like street theater place
yeah,
with the quest where you have to find a guy's wife.
yeah.
There's the boss fight. You go to a place with the guy to the actual like theater place, and you talk to the statue, and it turns into one of the gang people. That boss's fight is real fucking good.
Wait, you talk. What
Uh,
happens there? Because maybe I missed that.
there's a boss fight with like a lady. I know you did it.
Oh, you mean one of the stalkers? Yeah. She's really good. Yeah,
Yeah, that
she
was.
just she tricks you with like this puppet.
Yeah. It's just really good how like I really like how the game forces you to experiment and like actually know to spend them in every part of them. Like they feel like one of the things with boss fight design, just as more general game design, is sometimes when designing a boss fight it all feels very same.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes like just I don't know, browser feels like the same with like King Boo or something in like a game. But
Yeah, you
like
just jump 3 times on them.
yeah, but like in Lies of P, the characters actually feel like actual characters. They have their own personalities, and their own personalities influence the attack pattern. And
Yeah,
like,
the stalkers really fight differently depending on like what's their backstory.
yeah, and you can feel like it's just a lot of the bosses will do things when they get more desperate, and like
Yeah.
it feels like they're very much sacrificing themselves to like win the fight. It's real fucking good. I really like it a lot.
Mm-hmm. The utility arm. What do you feel about that?
I didn't have to use it a lot. It was more like a sword gun, like attack gun. But like I like it a lot. Also, I use mostly the sock one. The socking
Ah,
one.
yeah.
I think I think the system is interesting. I like it a lot. Maybe improve it a bit, add some more customization or stuff. But I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I like the upgrade system where the weapon becomes better the more you upgrade it, and also you can have the Buster Cannon from like Mega Man.
God, this is returning to a second. This game has so many like references to like Astro Boy SPs. You know, like you got
Yeah,
the
yeah, just
not Astro Boy
Pinocchio
like
adjacent stuff.
like you got the Mega Man, the thing,
Yeah,
the
he
Astro
has the
Boy.
mechanical heart, which is like very Astro Boy.
Yeah, even like a similar style with his dad that we talk about
Yeah,
later. It's really interesting. Specific, I feel like the arm system is based on like you know Astro Boy has the hand cannon. You know, it's like based
yeah,
on like the Mega Man Astro Boy. Like they can like just move, turn their body parts into like cannons and stuff.
yeah. Of course, mechanically, it's very like Sekiro.
Yeah,
I think some of those get like pretty broken. Like on my second run, I played the one that has like the thread that spins
yeah,
out,
yeah,
and if you upgrade that fully, you can like pull yourself in and then do like a charge attack where you like jump up in the air, and you
yeah,
can like evade a lot of attacks,
yeah, yeah,
and it does like intense stagger damage.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's very cool.
Okay, anything more about the gameplay?
Um, it feels very good to play.
It
Like the
is.
game is really, you can tell they honed and polished the game design extremely.
When you hit an enemy in its life, it feels very like good.
Yeah,
Specifically when later on, like to the last part of the game, specifically when you're backtracking to the missions you missed and go to previous areas, you can just one hit kill enemies and that feels satisfying.
yeah, and they talked about that they took a lot of inspiration from fighting games, and I think that you feel that in the combat because like the impact of blows is just so good. You can
Yeah,
like really hit confirm just like in a fighting game.
yeah, yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, cool. Let's go to level and environment design. We talked a bit about this, but we're going to go more in depth.
Yeah. I feel like the level design is very interesting because it's very interesting because you start in like this train, then you go to train station, and then it just evolves. You know, like it goes in more like gothic areas. I really like it. I really like the source part. You know,
Yeah, that's one of the highlights of the game, like in terms of atmosphere and storytelling.
like I like because you go from a fact you have to rescue somebody in a factory, and then you go to this like source place. It like this. It's the best way I can describe it's like Resident Evil 4. You know, like this
Yeah,
very gothic, like kind of western, like village thing, and then it's just being overrun by zombies. That I've talked about this. I feel like they were inspired by like the part in Pinocchio, where like a fierce man tries to cannibalize him, basically.
yeah. I don't really agree with the interpretation, but I can see where you're coming from. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, like you go and like there's just zombies upon zombies upon zombies upon like creatures, and then you go into the source and it's just like this quiet, like most those enemies are there, but like you go and it's just really quiet and really calm, and it's just like this religious area. And there's like a lot of stuff there about like faith and God. It's
yeah.
really fucking good. I really love it.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's more in a way that's the most Dark Souls it gets in terms of atmosphere because it's like very they love churches in Dark Souls,
yeah.
but also it goes like more into like Christianity stuff than Dark Souls ever does.
Oh yeah, it's really interesting. It very much feels like the developers like 30 to 40% of South Korea I think is Christian, either Catholic or an evangelical Protestant branch. This
Hmm.
is much more than like China or Japan or other like Asian countries. It's like it is very much interesting because like it feels very much coming from like a background wanting to study like religion and stuff. But yeah, it feels like we must wanting to explore like religion also in a very cool way. There's also a very cool like side quest. You have to help a nun for like an item. That I
Yeah, and
think
she's a murderer.
yeah. It really feels like that whole area feels really traditional, like Gothic storytelling, like just the incestuousness of living and how that goes with religion that I find was very cleverly done. The other area we like is the World Expo.
The what?
World Expo.
Oh, the
The
World Exposition. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is going to like very like how do you pronounce? Like I guess steampunk aesthetics, like that type of like
Yeah,
aesthetics.
they have a lot of like 19th century stuff in there, and like steam engines and stuff.
Okay, but yeah, it goes very much into like that steampunk, like futuristic aesthetics. Futuristic, yes.
I
Uh,
guess futuristic for the time.
yeah, like futuristic aesthetics, and like so you got like this big like, I guess proto mall with the term like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's
The
like
first section is in a mall, and that's historically accurate. 19th century was when malls started.
so it goes into like this mall and you just like finding things, and then you just like see like close stars and stuff, and it's really good. Then then the second part is like in this theater place, and
No, it's actually a World Exposition
yeah,
building, which
what's
were
position?
real. They were real things. They built them just for that.
No, I know Potter had one. Yeah, no, what I'm thinking of the King of Puppets stuff.
Yeah, yeah. That's in the Opera House.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, and then you go to like the Urvespo place, and it's filled like this with the aesthetics, and it's really fucking good at putting those aesthetics, and I mean, find like very like, steampunk set is normally put like associated, and it's mostly like white guys from America and the UK cosplaying imperialism. There's like
Yeah,
a steam plane or
it's
something.
also really connected to Britain in like aesthetics, and here they draw it way more from the Belle Epoque from France.
Yeah, so they do it in kind of things to make it aesthetic, like not tacky. But I think what it does is just aesthetic into like an actual hall of like the hall of kind of like the futurism. It's very Bioshocky, like Ludo talked to, like I talked to Ludo about. It was very
Yeah,
Bioshocky, but in a way that doesn't.
they mention it as an inspiration at one point. Yeah.
It's Bioshocky, but without the centrism and racism.
Yeah, and also I think what makes it work is like it's very grounded and realistic, like the environments and
Yeah,
how a lot of stuff works.
it
It's
does.
not like they just add a bunch of like cogs and wheels to every object so that it looks more steampunk.
They actually studied the history, They actually studied the history of like the Saturn movements, which I find
Yeah.
interesting.
No, it's
Uh,
great.
yeah, we like. Do you have a favorite level? Also?
I think yours is like the church, right?
Yeah, the source and the steam and the Jasper place.
I think the entertainment district probably that has like the opera house
Yeah, it's a
is
cool one.
really impressive to me.
Yeah. Do you? I also we like the puppet cemetery. That's really cool.
Yeah, yeah, that zone is
Uh,
really interesting.
I'll mention it here because I don't think I will mention it at things. Such of the guy, just the robot guy, just having his crisis because he said like that.
Yeah,
Iconic.
you could teach him about you being human.
Like it's the most fucking like. I will talk about this later, I guess. But like a lot of this feels very classical, like as the Marvel like science fiction regarding robots. And I just love
Yeah,
the fucking existential thing. It's just classical sci-fi of like there's a semi-dead robot guy and he's just like having a question about his fate and like wanting to interact as a human as he's literally dying. It's really
yeah, yeah.
fantastic.
They do
The-
their own spin on the laws of robotics, so yeah, it's definitely very Asimov.
yeah, and that's why I like the Puppet Cemetery a lot. Do you have like a least favorite level?
I guess the last one because it's like stylistically the least coherent.
It's kind of just, I'll be honest, it's kind of just feels like they just wanted to do the Axos level.
Yeah, it's
It,
like a very medieval old tower, but then it has like these weird indigenous looking statues that like seem weird, and then there's like an alphabet that seems foreign, and it's like it feels like a Dark Souls 2 level.
it feels like it belongs more like in the fucking Witzel or something more than like Liza P, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that one could have needed some more like real life inspirations that make it a bit more
I,
coherent.
I think the boss fights in it are good, but I think the rest is kind of just, and that's it's just very annoying. Like I had to reuse the seats a lot because I just kept dying a lot in it.
Oh yeah, that zone is absolutely brutal. They just decide it's time for you to fucking die.
Do you have anything to say about more about the environmental like levels?
The thing is, I could talk an hour about like what they do with the architecture in this game because
Yeah.
it's so fucking good. Like
Yeah.
with
Uh,
how clever they are, how they like took all these inspirations from real places.
yeah. As I say, it uses those aesthetics in a way that actually feels like like putting them in a horror setting, like actually being informed about what the aesthetics means in a way that's cool. We'll talk about this later. But there's like we'll talk this in the next segment. I think like there's a character that very much is in conversation with like those that are putting aesthetics in a way that I find interesting.
Yeah, also, I think it feels really like a coherent place. Like, you can see the
Mm.
whole city from certain points,
Yeah,
and you can see where you already were and where you can go.
yeah.
It's really well done. It's like the first Dark Souls where like you have a really good sense of place every
It,
time.
it reminds me a lot of Pathologic one, to be honest, like the Pathologic games.
Yeah,
In terms of like creating a city that actually feels like a real city.
yeah, makes sense.
Okay.
Good. So let's go to character and creature design.
Mm.
What do you think?
Uh, I, I really like the character design. I really like the creature design. The character designers they all feel like unique characters in a way I like. The creatures are fantastic because they all start as the enemies start out as like evil puppets, and then it just goes because of a thing halfway through the game they turn into like Lovecraftian monsters, and I really
Yeah,
like. I specifically like the designs in the puppet cemetery because there's just this robots getting monster fight and Joker fight, and like it's just are dying basically. It's really
yeah,
good.
it's the scene from Detroit Become Human, but done well. You know,
Yeah,
where because they also go to like a robot graveyard in that
yeah.
game.
If we have 100 Patreons, we're gonna do a full playthrough of Detroit Become Human.
Yeah, if you give us, let's say, $100, we're doing it.
We get David Carson's podcast. No,
No,
no.
we would at the most we would trick him to get somewhere, and then we would do stuff that's illegal.
Anyway, but yeah, we like the design. I feel like the design is very clever. And like we mentioned, messing those futuristic aesthetics, but also just like every area has like its own set of designs. Again, we using all your ones, and I feel like the designs of every area, like the designs of like every specific enemy for one specific area, feels in touch. That's aesthetics. So
Yeah,
like the zombies and like the bears area feel very much like this kind of like masters of like terrorizing a medieval like European bears. The puppets and every puppet area feel very like those like that futuristic like puppet horror like robot horror. The later masters feel much more even Lovecraftian, I would say.
yeah. There's a lot of like tentacles and weird mouths and shit happening.
The last area is very confused. I think that's just because the last area is kind of underwhelming to be honest.
Yeah, it has. In a way, it reminds me of like the last part of Dark Souls, where they just like ran out of budget and time,
Yeah.
and they just like throw a bunch of really hard encounters at you. But the level design isn't bad. It's just like something on it feels undercooked. They
Yeah.
also recycle basically all the enemies. They don't introduce new enemies in that
The
area.
new
It's just
enemies are only the
basically
bosses.
yeah, it's just a final test for your skills, basically.
The cat, but the specific like the axle cat is a pretty good. I like all the designs. The blue face design is pretty good. I like that the halo is blue.
Yeah,
The cat is blue.
I guess you just colored it with Ergo or something. Um,
God, Jesus, I want to fucking do she has blue hair and porn. I'm so quite. Oh.
Pinocchio is woke now. They gave
Yeah.
the blue fairy blue hair and pronouns.
But yeah, I will. Shouts out to the. We're gonna talk about now. I shouts out to the. There's an Asian, I think Korean character. I think that is very much in touch with the game's like European aesthetics and also making a comment area about like European orientalism of the time. I think is very clever.
Yeah, yeah. They talk about like an exposition. There's like an Oriental exposition at the World Fair. I
Yeah,
didn't find it. I don't know where it
I
is.
think
Maybe
it
it's not
maybe
even in
just
the game.
got destroyed or something.
Yeah, yeah. But like it's really like depicted as like a pure Orientalism.
Yeah,
Like oh, come see the weird stuff from the Orient, and like it's very much commentary. Like I like
It's
that.
it's actually interesting because like you like with that characters commentating and everything, just you see because the game shows European futurism, but it's like this European futurism very epic aesthetics of like everything is destroyed and fucked up and wanting to kill you.
Yeah, you can read a lot of stuff in here because a lot of the puppets are like workers, and then they like, kill their masters.
There's an interview that Webber says because the game when they asked the game used there's an area with the brace of the puppet that said like originally had a poster saying all puppets are bastards basically. And
Yeah.
like the developer like thought they had to change that because of political stuff. They very much they wanted to focus on that. So, like it feels like they're somewhat tolerable, like they're doing with the political themes.
Yeah, there's still stuff underground, and like withdrawing from Bioshock, it's clear that there's like a dystopian aspect to it all.
Yeah, also I shouts out to the funny man. The funny guy is very funny. The guy with like
Uh,
the robot bottle.
oh yeah, he's just like Elon Musk, but with a tragic backstory.
It's very funny because basically the guy that created all the puppets are like is just this like almost Zoka man guy. That's just like he's shown as like this guy that knows how to build stuff, but like is basically ignorant on everything else on life. And the game is aware on that.
Yeah, he's steampunk Batman, but also the Joker.
Yeah, it's really interesting. There's also the old lady.
Yeah, she's pretty cool.
She's cool. I like her quest a lot. I like the fact that she has like a robot guy in love with her, and you can just tell the robot guy, yes, date this old lady.
This robot guy is simping.
Do you want to talk about the pet or that's later? I like.
Um, I mean, we can talk about him right now. It's not really. After this, there's only music and sound design.
Okay,
Voice
so
acting.
this game does a thing I fucking hate in a lot of bad theater. In a lot of bad adaptations of Fairy Tales, and it's just Pinocchio where like it's go, the battle is evil!
Yeah, what if the good person was bad instead?
There's like a fucking there's a bad comics here called Favors where it does the same thing, but it does even worse. God, this is related to national events because it in Favors the battle represents legally distinct Palestine somehow, and
Okay.
the big bad wolf is Israel because it's written by a Zionist.
No.
Fuck this thing.
What the fuck?
Okay, before we end the podcast, in the last segment, I'm gonna stop Ludo a thing, and then I'm gonna end that way. But
Okay.
but yeah, it's very easy to go bad, good person, bad. But this, I feel like, so let's going back to very quickly to what we did in the one of the Pinocchio podcasts. This is very inspired by Astro Boy. There's a similar thing that Astro Boy Mega Man did a total Pinocchio movie there, where like they have Geppetto creating a clone. Not a clone, but like a robot because his actual kid died. And the way
Yeah.
this game actually does the Epo Geppetto thing, it shows like maybe it's a bit fucked up to try to reconstruct like a loved one that died and like just carrying all this trauma in a way that I feel is
Yeah.
like very thoughtful to be honest. So
Yeah, it
because
also kind of shows him as like this weird, like, uh, destroyed by love for his son, abusive dad. He's
y-
willing to do anything to like get him back, but also he treats this robot like his son and basically uses him to like get that goal.
which I feel like goes into the terms because that's a piece about Pinocchio turning to himself because he's manipulated by everyone on his side, you know. It's
Yeah.
like so he has to lie to protect himself. He has to lie to protect other people. Like the game very much goes like it reminds me a lot of like Soviet Pinocchio, because
Hmm.
in Soviet Pinocchio, the thing is Pinocchio doesn't want to be like a real boy. Unless he doesn't want to be a real boy, because he still becomes human, but like it's not about becoming a real boy. It's about becoming like an actual human being with an actual personality, not just like it's not he's not puppeted, you know. He's not somebody's puppet to control, which I find very clever.
Also, Soviet Pinocchio has that golden key stuff, which goes like into occultism and stuff. Which, yeah, that's gonna come up in our last segment.
Okay, anything else to say?
Um,
The
I
cricket. You
think
forgot the cricket.
Oh, you hate the cricket. Talk about it.
Okay, yeah. So this game, what's the fucking fairy that in Zelda games? You know what I'm thinking?
Navi.
Yeah, they basically make like it's like Navi with like like the dragon guy from Mulan, voiced by Eddie Murphy.
Yeah,
They
it's like Fugur mixed with Navi.
and it's like I get what they're trying to do. It kind of fits into the personality because Germany in every even in the Pinocchio book is like kind of a wisecracker. At the same time, it just doesn't work for me. Like, there's a lot of scenes that are Zen when he test the mask, and it's just like, "Hey, Pinocchio, we're gonna beat it for." And I'm like, this game has some funny moments. It can be funny. Black media can have funny moments and be lighthearted. Things are not the binary. At the same time, it's like, the humor doesn't work because it's like this dark, intense moment, and it's just, "Hey, Pinocchio, we're gonna beat it
I
for."
totally see what you mean, and there is like a lot of repetition of you come in a new zone and Germany goes like, "Wow, this place is fucked up, huh?"
I
And
get
like
what
he could be like, "Yeah, I see that, my guy. I know." Like he points out a lot of obvious stuff. Rarely he gives some context that you wouldn't get otherwise, but
it's probably one of my
it's a
least
mixed bag.
yeah, it's probably my least favorite uh, Zimmerny takes, to be honest. I don't think it's off. I get what they're trying to do. It just doesn't work for me. He is helpful as a mechanic because he's like you turn him to like see light,
Yeah.
which is decent. Okay, go ahead.
Um, yeah, I'm mixed on Gemini. I think it's funny to have a character like that in a Souls game. It's kind of absurd. I've never seen it.
Yeah, I think you can do it where just maybe like some better writing, like some rewrites. Anyway, yeah. Soundtrack, voice acting, audio designer.
Yes. Also, wait, I barely. I just wanted to say the puppets don't really scare me, but I think the designs are cool.
Yeah, the puppets are good.
And,
I like it.
and then the Lovecraft and stuff is pretty nice.
The police puppets are very funny.
Yeah. Okay, audio design, music. So let's go point by point. First, the music.
It's pretty
What do you
good.
think?
It's good.
Yeah, I think it's nice.
There's the vocal tracks are decent. I like it a lot. It feels very much like that, like old fans, like it feels very much like that old fans, like
It's called
Romani. Yeah,
chanson and chamber music.
yeah. There's also a bit of Romani jazz. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
French jazz. That thing. That It's very much like that French Italian style of music that was popular and still kind of pop, like like 1920s, like the traditional like style.
Yeah, I
Uh,
actually went to a concert of like Irish folk music during this month, and they
yeah,
played some like French waltzes,
yeah.
and that stuff is totally like the same style.
It's very much it works. Also, I think you told me there's a mechanic who can listen to recordings. And I think you told me some of the music is from like a video game that the developers made or
Yeah,
something.
they're apparently from one source. I don't know if this is true. Yeah, I only found one source, but they say that there are rearrangements of like the rhythm game from this company.
Yeah, which is like a very popular rhythm game. It has like Hatsune Miku songs, Guilty Gear. It's wild.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's pretty big in like Asia.
Yes, yeah, but yeah, the music's really good. I like it a lot. It works environment. Voice acting, it works fine.
Uh, Wait, let me see if I have anything else with the music. Uh, I think I liked it that they like have a bit of everything that was popular in that era. Like there's classical music, there's opera, and then there's the chamber music and chanson. But yeah, sound design.
I
Um,
did the voice acting, I mean.
oh, you want to do a sec? Okay. One of the actresses is from Elden Ring. Did you know that?
Oh, did not know that.
Yeah, so they
Uh,
just knew we're gonna hire the FromSoft talent.
it's decent. I feel like it's decent. I have complained with a lot of yeah, English voice acting because a lot of English voice acting is like weird. Happens a lot with games and anime dubbing. Well, like this has to have this. You know what I'm talking? There's a specific type of voice acting from the American sphere that's just this weird sound that's not natural, but it doesn't sound like anime or video games. But it's like all over the
Okay.
place.
like very forced.
You know what I mean, right? You can feel it in Lies of P.
I guess there's parts that feel a bit unnatural, if you mean
Yeah,
that.
like there's like it's not yet theater because like way too hard to explain, but at the same time I feel like most of it is fine. I like everyone's bisecting a lot. Like not a lot. I think it's good. The funny guy is very funny. Like I play the funny guy. He's very
Yeah,
good.
Venini, they give him like a bit of an Italian accent.
Same thing to Fox in the card. Also good.
I think Geppetto is very good. He has like really that like calm, fatherly tone.
Wrestler Frankenstein.
Oh
That's
yeah,
just,
he gives a wrestling promo
he's
when
just
he comes in.
he's just doing like Hulk Hogan, right? He's just fucking.
Yeah, he's basically doing like a extreme wrestling gimmick.
It's like, are you ready, what? Frankenstein sleep, what?
Oh brother, we're gonna wrestle some pee.
The only good thing Hulk Hogan has done in his entire life is just fucking do that fucking voice that everyone calls.
Yeah.
It's very funny to do, but yeah, I think the voice acting is mostly solid. I'm not like a voice acting expert, but I think it's everyone like sounds different. The Blue Fairy sounds fine as well.
Yeah.
I think the robots have the similar voice, don't they? Like the
But they
butler
have like their
guy.
own weird language with like a weird filter over it.
Yeah, but the filter like makes them kind of sound the same, doesn't it? Like I feel like
Yeah, they sound very samey in a way.
which makes sense because like this is the thing in media, like robots sound the same in like a lot of media.
Yeah, they would just do beep boop.
Yeah, beep boop beep. Anyway, but yeah, I feel like the voice acting is fine.
Yeah. Sound design is the impact of weapons and shit like that is amazing. But when it comes like to the environmental sounds, I feel like they're like one step below FromSoft. Like FromSoft, sometimes you could just listen to an environment and it's scary or cool in its own way.
Mhm.
And with this, it's atmospheric, but it doesn't quite get as far as like FromSoft audio design
Mhm.
in terms of like the rooms, like the spaces, the environmental sounds.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, overall
yeah.
it's pretty good.
I don't like Zemny voice. Okay, I don't like Zemny's voice.
Yeah, he's the most like
He feels
you
very
said, like,
cartoon.
comedic relief.
He feels extremely like a '90s cartoon mascot. Like
I think
you know.
they also weren't sure what they were doing with him because I saw him having different voice lines in an earlier build.
Yeah.
So I think he's like one of the least worked through characters.
I feel like it's just kind of hard to like define Zemny's character because he has
Okay,
like,
bonus round.
Yeah.
References and inspirations. So I could just talk about for 2 hours about this shit.
All
We're not
agnostic
gonna.
says the Mao. Let's go.
No, okay. I'm just gonna start. We're just gonna start with just the notes I took.
Okay.
Games I think Lies of P is influenced by. FromSoft Dark Souls and Bloodborne, Sekiro, Bioshock, we mentioned. Nier Automata.
Makes sense.
Makes sense, right? It's about robots and becoming and humanity, what it
Yep.
means to be alive, all that shit.
Way less horny.
Way like this is one of the least horny games in a way, except for the Fox.
It's just the Fox basically, unless somebody's really horny for like the Blue Fairy Hotel.
Yeah. Then you have like historical stuff I could talk about forever, like all the industrial designs or cultural things. Like wrestling was a new thing at that time, so of course there's the wrestler.
Yeah.
There's those like half woman man people from freak shows. That's a puppet design.
Yeah.
I found that very interesting. But let's go to literature. Lies of P is referencing or drawing from. Pinocchio, Portrait of Dorian Gray, The Sandman.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a story about a guy who falls in love with a robot woman.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know she's a robot, so that
Yeah.
gets directly referenced. Frankenstein, of course, because of that past and a lot of themes. Nietzsche, So sprach Zarathustra. Like, there's the one where he makes his own Bible, basically. That's wild. And that gets kind of referenced here because the alchemists also make up their own Bible. Don Quixote gets referenced kind of in one scene, and it's also like P is kind of on this like quest, you know. and he's just like running around. And he has a sidekick that constantly talks shit. So it's a lot like that. Then, of course, like the Bible, we have all this Christian stuff. Then we have, under that, we have like all the Gnosticism and all the Hermeticism. And this is a rabbit hole I invite you to go down yourself. Just Google some of the names of characters and then add Gnosticism and see what happens.
Yeah.
You're gonna find some stuff. This is interesting.
Okay, not to make this long, but can you just talk about the Suez guy for like a second?
Oh, you mean Paracelsus?
Yeah, let's talk about the guy that was in fight in the fight.
So Paracelsus is one of the characters in this game. He gives you a fake name, but historically he's like a famous alchemist. He did a lot of like science stuff, but also a lot of like occult stuff. He's also, maybe you might know him as von Hohenheim, which is the name of the dad in Full Metal Alchemist. So yeah, he's basically the most famous alchemist in history.
Yeah.
Which leads me to other media this is influenced by, which is Full Metal Alchemist, because there's a lot of Gnosticism there too, and alchemism, and some of the beats are like inspired by it, because you find out at some point that ergo is basically a human life force that you get by infecting people with the petrification disease, and that's very similar to like when you make the Philosopher's Stone. You basically have to do it with human lives as a resource. And then there's like references to Michelangelo multiple times. There's like the creation of Adam gets referenced, and like that one very famous Mary statue, you know, where he's like in the arms.
Yeah.
That gets directly referenced. Yeah.
And it's part of a mechanic thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's full of stuff. It's very well researched.
Play this game. It's very good. We give it the Zemne Movies recommendation.
Yeah, totally. If you like Souls-likes, this is basically a must-play.
It's really fucking good. We're just not talking about everything because we can just talk about hours, and we normally want to make this podcast shorter.
Yeah, we gotta stay around an hour.
Yeah, so I would recommend. I think it's a fantastic game. Just play it. If you're just a fan of like Souls-likes, Gothic, Soul, Pinocchio, just play it. It's good. Okay, we have one more segment. Selecting the next thing we're gonna cover.
I mean the strike isn't over.
We're gonna talk. No, we have something already planned. You know, those the Ludwig movies.
The what?
Ludwig.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do the Ludwig movies.
We're gonna cover 2 movies about the so-called Mad Prince of Bavaria, Ludwig. Get hype. I'm sure Ludwig's gonna find some German novel.
Yeah. Didn't you want to show me something for the end of the episode?
Okay. I'm gonna so there's a comic book. This is related to international news. Again, I'll say this. It's much more. This is a Philly podcast. There's currently a genocide happening in Israel. Please support Palestine. Support your local Palestinian organization.
We can put some links.
Support police. There's an actual genocide happen. Please, there's a lot of bad say it. And remember, the city today is just a fucking podcast. And remember, there's actual human beings suffering, and do things for the world. Because to be left is to care about people, you know, and to care about. Okay, one more thing. This is a White Wing. There's a comic called Fables. It's about fairy tales. The main villain for Nak is a Geppetto. It's a weird allegory about the state of Israel made by a Zionist. I'm gonna send a panel where the big bad wolf explains why fairy tales are like Israel and the Palestinians.
Okay, I think you said this before to me, but I'm just gonna read it out for the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna just give them different voices. Ever hear of a country called Israel?
Yeah.
Who knows, maybe. Why is that important? Here's what you need to know about it. Israel is a tiny country surrounded by much larger countries dedicated to its eventual total destruction. Yeah, that's all they think about. That's all the other countries ever think about.
Yeah.
And why should that concern me?
Because they stay alive by being a bunch of tough little bastards who make the other guys pay.
Oh, I'm getting like Hulk Hogan.
Pay dearly every time they do anything against Israel. Come in the wider world constantly wail and moan about the endless cycle of violence and reprisal. But since the alternative is non-existence, the Israelis seem determined to keep at it. They have a lot of grit and iron. I'm a big fan of them. I'm the Hulkster.
This is so fucking nonsense.
God, this is so bad.
Like this is like this is all incorrect. Laat ik het blanco dus. This is just incorrect. Support your local PlayStation group, and this is actually why I talk a lot. I like Liza P a lot because as a fan of fairy tales, as a fan of shit like Pinocchio, there's some ass hacks out there that think they're clever making making like fucking Zionist big bad wolf versus a panther. Please remember.
It could have been a lot worse.
Please remember to actually write good stories and not just make fucking like slasher kill Winnie the Pooh and Zionist big bad wolf. Anyway, as always, see you next time. We're gonna actually talk about movies.
Bye bye.
Links. Have a Blue Sky, Astrovator, Twitter, Astrovator, Twist, Astrovator, etc. etc. Do you have anything?
Don't perceive me.
Well, fuck that.
Bye.
Bye.